now we're going to talk about a specific game that will make me shed a single tear. But before that, we're going to... I love how you know what it is straight away.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the journey to the World Cup. So
Okay.
obviously it was an emotional roller coaster for a lot of teams to get there.
Mm.
But how was the energy for yourself when you're... First of all, when you get selected to the World Cup training camp, like how was that? Because that's when, obviously, I assume... Because it basically is a funnel process, isn't it? You're just kind of whittling down the team so you've got the best team. How was that, and how's the mindset when you go into these World Cup training camps? Because does it feel like a normal training camp to you, or do you have that pressure?
Like for me, that was like the first pre-season that I'd actually done, weirdly, because I'd always gone like back and forth with 7s and 15s. So it was nice to just know this is exactly what I'm doing. And yeah, like there was probably about 35 of us in the training squad in the lead up to the World Cup, and we had like 4-week blocks, and it was horrific because it was so hot as well. Like June was boiling. Oh, not June, July, sorry. So we came in July the 1st, and July was just so hot. Like,
whereabouts were you training in Cardiff, or?
Yeah, I know, in Cardiff. It was boiling. Like we had these like heavy contact tops on, and it was just dire. But it was good because, like I said, like we were probably like the fittest and strongest that we were going in. Like everyone made gains, like regardless of how we were before, everyone had made good gains moving forward to the World Cup. So yeah, that's pleasing to see. But it was just it was a slog. Like I think Johan and Whiff and just every coach, I think they wanted to kill us, like in a good way. Like they wanted to know, like, it's hard. Like test rugby is hard.
Yeah.
Like this is what we've got to be. And the emphasis on us was like, get comfortable being uncomfortable, because you don't know what could happen in New Zealand. Like even if it's just like the hotel we think we're staying in, something's happened, so we have to change locations. Like it could have been anything, and that can just throw you off course slightly. So like that was like our mindset going into preseason: just get comfortable being really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And like week 4 of the first block, they took us to Merthyr Mawr. Do you know? Have you been there before by any chance?
No, unfortunately. I'll write it down though. I'll go. If it's worth going, I'll be there.
Oh, it's horrific. It's just
okay, I won't write it down.
It's not worth it. Just these horrific sand dunes in Wales, and just we had to just run up them.
Sprints,
and just do challenges up them, and like your quads go before anything else. But it's just awful. So like they made us do stuff like that, and like just proper get us out of our comfort zone. Like every Friday we would go off site and do like a challenge. So we went like this place called Green Mile, and we had to carry like a log around a mountain, and it just like nothing rugby related, but like just really uncomfortably hard. Yeah, so that was kind of what preseason was about. Like it was basically survival of the fittest, like who can not break.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was hard.
That sounds terrible. How is it then when the squad starts getting whittled down? How are the feelings when that's going on? Like, are the girls like, are you talking in the group being like, oh, I think like I know nobody's going in with the mindset thinking, oh, today's my last day in camp. But
yeah,
like, do you hear like rumors start, like the whispers start creeping into the changing room before sessions?
Well, our squad didn't get whittled down until like everyone trained fully until we played England on a Wednesday. Just test my memory. Everyone was training up until I think the week before.
Okay.
And obviously we all had a phone call on the Friday after we played England, if you were in the squad or not. And then obviously we had Saturday and Sunday to just kind of, everyone could just digest the news they had, whether good, bad, whatever. And then obviously we were back in on the Monday.
So did you do a lot of like calling on the Saturday, Sunday then, or I'm just going to see who's there on the Monday type thing?
I can't really remember how it was, to be honest. Like,
because I would be terrified to phone people in case they hadn't got the same news.
Yeah, I know. This is the thing. Like, do you text someone to be like, I think the only good thing for us was, well, not good thing, that sounds really bad, but like the only thing was like we knew out of everyone that was training, I think it was only 5 people that weren't selected. I think it was 5. So like it wasn't like loads of people. It wasn't like 20 odd people.
Yeah.
Like there was only 5, and I think obviously we had like a preseason week in Canada, and everyone. I think everyone had an opportunity to play, whether you played Canada or played England. Like everyone had an opportunity to play a test game before selection. But yeah, obviously then that Monday came and we were like, oh, so and so's not here. So and so's also not here, and it was just like, yeah, it's a tricky one because obviously no one wants to do 8 weeks of preseason to not then get selected to go. It's like you've done all that hard work, and it's almost like, oh, not for what, but because like you've given your best efforts. But it's like it was probably the hardest 4 weeks of my life, and I think if I had had the phone call that I wasn't going, like I would have been devastated. So it's just then you got to have like sympathy for the girls that didn't make it, because it was a slog. Like
I know. Like you said, there probably very few worse feelings.
Yeah.
But I think the way you would probably have to look at it, and it's very easy for me to tell somebody to look at it this way, but you have to think the team would not be as good if you hadn't been at the camp pushing.
Yeah.
It's probably the way you have to think about it. And I'm pretty sure the girls the girls that did go would appreciate it.
Yeah,
you would have been driven by people that didn't get to go.
Yeah, like the level of like competition we had heading into like the England game and things like that. Like you didn't know if like you were safe, essentially. Like you like genuinely didn't know if you were going to be going or not. And I think that's like the kind of level of competitiveness that we want to keep building. Like you don't know if you're going to be selected. Like no matter how many caps you've got, you generally don't know. And it is like a fear factor but I think it's good to have, because like you will not get complacent then. If you think there's an opportunity for someone to get your jersey, you're not going to be complacent. And that's probably something that we've not necessarily had in the past, is that level of competition. So now that we're starting to build that, hopefully then everyone kind of ups their own game, and then that'll just make us better overall as a squad.
Well, I couldn't agree more. And like you said, as people just get better, there's no other option but for the team to grow in success and performance. So talk to me now. You've been selected. You're on that natural high. When did you feel it was safe to tell people you were going to the World Cup? Like when did you phone Liz and Richard and be like, got some good news?
As soon as I got off the phone to Johan on the Friday, I rung them to tell them.
Like, please don't post it till Monday. But
yeah, I was like, you're not allowed to tell anyone until it's announced officially. But like I don't think like I was subconsciously thinking, like, I don't know whether it was like because I've had like past experiences with injuries or something. I was like, if something's going to go wrong, it's going to be this week. Because like we found out on the Friday, and then we had a week of training before flying on Friday. So we had like 5 days of like the intensity in training didn't drop off at all, because we were still prepping to play Scotland in week 1. So, and I just thought, like, if something bad's going to happen, like this is the week that is going to happen in. And I was just on edge the whole week, and I probably didn't relax until I got home Thursday night, and I was like, right, I haven't got to train until I actually get to New Zealand now. So that's probably when I felt like relaxed and safe. I was like, okay, I'm on the plane. We can relax a bit now.
Yeah, I'm just going to enjoy the 24-hour of travel. A slog.
Yeah. Oh God, no.
Are you like iPad, neck pillow, eye cover?
I'm an eye mask kind of gal.
I like that.
But I don't find the neck pillows that comfy. But I slept on Alicia for the majority of the way there, to be honest. I was like, come on.
Out like a light the second the wheels came out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sleeping tabs. I only woke up for food.
That's the best way to be. On a flight like that, that's the best way to be.
Yeah, I know.
You then get that, so you've achieved the goal. But then, like we say, we fast forward 4 days, and a lot of we're looking at facing the most informed women's team, arguably one of the best collective squads ever assembled in the women's game,
Yeah.
on their home turf, capital city, their home World Cup, not even just a home game for them.
Yeah.
And then you're facing a haka in the most viewed World Cup of all time for women's rugby. Did that feel? How did that feel when you're stood across the line from them? Did it feel just like it was sort of like they say that the haka has an aura? Did it feel like it was just growing in front of you while they started their dance?
Yeah, like I've faced the haka 3 times now, and obviously twice of that World Cup in the 2017 World Cup, and still, like, it's a bit of an, like, it sounds weird, but like, it is a bit of an honor to face it, because it is such, they have such an aura about them, and they're all great individual rugby players, but as a team, like, well, you just had to look at the final, like, as a team, they're just something pretty special, especially the journey that they had, like, pre-World Cup with their head coach and stuff, and like, you just got to admire that. But like, the worst team to play on the pitch, but then probably one of the nicest teams off it. Like, we shared a hotel with them. Like, when we went back up to Whangarei, we were in the same hotel as them, because they were obviously playing Scotland and we were playing Australia the same day. And just like, we seen them around the hotel, and just like, what nice, like, a nice bunch of girls they were, like. And I think that says a lot about a rugby team, when they can be that, like, successful and dominant on the pitch, but then off it, they can be lovely as well. Like, I think that just shows you what rugby is about as well. Like, 2 days ago, they're beating us up, and like, today they're just like saying hi and having a chat and stuff. And I just, like, it's just really nice.
It's something terrifying about that as well, when people have that.
Yeah.
I noticed the Mamba mentality from Kobe Bryant, but it's like, as soon as they put on a specific jersey and they just switch, and you're like, that is a different person in the same body to the person I saw 2 days ago.
Yeah, 100%. Like, they flip a switch and they're just like a different breed. And they're like, probably, I think that quarterfinal is probably the hardest game of rugby I've played to date. Like, it was horrific, but it was the hardest, but the most enjoyable game of rugby I've ever played.
Wow.
Like,
that's a statement there.
Yeah, like, and at half time, I was dying. Like, I was in a world of pain, but I was like, I can't wait out. Like, I can't wait to just go back out and do it for like another 10, 15 minutes.
Did you have that mentality? Like, I know the girls are on the bench, so I can just go full boom for 50, and then that's me, or?
Yeah, like that, like the situation like me and Fee have at the minute, like, it was like, if she was starting, like, I knew I'd probably come on around the 50-minute mark, and vice versa, kind of thing. So I knew after half time, I was like, right, you've got 10, 15 minutes, like, it's
make it
probably,
memorable.
It's going to be probably the last 10, 15 minutes of this World Cup. Just go out and enjoy it. And that's definitely what I think I did. Like, I just loved it in the weirdest way.
But I love that though. I love that it's like, because we spoke a lot about how sport became professional for you, and then it stops being the fun, it becomes the breadwinner, but you're still sat there going, this is great. I'm loving every second of this.
Yeah. It is. I love it. And I'm so excited to hopefully get back in a Welsh jersey come March. And like, the Six Nations is a great tournament, so I'm hopefully excited to be able to do that again.
I can't wait. And if I'm any good at scheduling stuff, I'll probably try to put this around the week where you're actually up in Scotland. So it'll be a lot closer than we think when this one sees the light of day, but there we go.
Yeah.
At least everybody will know you'll have been working hard when they listen to this. Well, there's no doubt that Keira's up for it. Yeah. We know Keira's up for it. But let's talk about, so that World Cup as a whole, obviously, it was one of the big stories of that World Cup was the World Cup itself, and everybody's watching it, everybody's talking about it. Did you feel that increase as well when you got back to Wales and you got back to the UK? Were you like, oh, not like I'm walking around the town and people are going, "Oh, that's Keira Bevan." Like, have you noticed this now as the game grows? Like, are you noticing that attention, that recognize you're getting recognized now a bit more?
Yeah, I think so. Like I'm since coming back from the World Cup, like I had massive tour blues.
Oh,
So a couple of us went to Barcelona for a few days, just
a bit of
like
R&R.
a bit of R&R, switch off, before coming back into club and stuff. And then obviously, like me and Gwen moved out and bought the house here, or renting the house here, sorry. And yeah, but when I go back home, even now, like if I went to Tesco's with my mum, because I love a trip to Tesco's with my mum.
I love a shop.
Yeah, I like people even now, like what is it, like 3 months since the World Cup or since
Mhm.
the Scotland game, whatever. People are still saying to me about the kick, and I'm like, oh god, like I
Don't make me
don't think
talk about it again.
down. Yeah, so yeah, and people, the common question I get asked is like, "Are you feeling? You fit?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
Yes.
yeah."
We'll be
But yeah,
fine.
yeah, definitely people just like, especially like local, because obviously where I'm from and stuff, people just know me anyway.
As I say, they're
Like,
quite a small town, like the actual. I think you're from the
yeah,
actual village.
villages in Wales are so small, like everyone knows anyone anyway.
Mhm.
So like when they're putting Facebook posts up about you and stuff like that, like obviously people are then gonna ask. So yeah, no one asks me up here because no one has a clue who I am. So which is fair enough. I don't expect.
I like it. I like being able to go to the Tesco shop and not get
Yeah,
hounded.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, I'm so glad. And then, so we've now spoken about history. We've touched on it a bit. 2023 Six Nations, like you said, it has the potential to be. I don't like to say it has the potential because I'm pretty confident it's going to happen, but
Mm,
I don't get to influence Johan's decision. It's going to be a big one for you personally with the 50th cap potential.
yeah,
I have to say potential because I don't want to jinx anything. Because I don't.
yeah, it's fine. I don't wanna.
I'd hate to see on Instagram the next day. You're like, oh no, injury, and I'm like, good one, Sam. You've ruined that for us. But how's the goal for Wales and yourself personally for this tournament coming up? Obviously, this is the first proper one as pro,
Yeah, I think,
or
yeah,
the
so
whole
obviously it's
squad
like,
as a pro. Sorry, you've had a
yeah,
fun trip, but yeah.
yeah, so it's obviously gonna be different. Like we're gonna be like, obviously last year Six Nations, like I touched on it, like we were still training in the evenings.
Mhm.
So this is the first one where everyone will be in during the day. And like I said, like that's what I found most beneficial in pre-season. So it'll be good to like have the same sort of structure as that. Um, yeah, and I think as a squad, I think we're like obviously with the XV15 coming up in October, I think it is. I think I've got that right. That the
Mhm.
name of it. With that coming up in October, like we know we could either be going to Hong Kong or South Africa.
Yeah.
Um, so for us, it's about like we want to finish top three again. Um, you know, we obviously did that last year. It's like we scraped the barrel last year by doing it, but obviously we had a really good start to the tournament last year and probably didn't finish the way we wanted to. So we're like obviously we're going to be looking to do the same sort of thing again, and yeah, hopefully go to the top tier then of the X15 is probably the goal for us as a squad. But I'm sure Ireland and Scotland and Italy and everyone else is also in that as well. So it's a weird one, isn't it? But
I was
yeah,
gonna
obviously that's what we want.
the X15. So the X15 is clear the goal, but do they? So you mentioned there it's like you sort of mark winnable games. I think every team does when they go to a competition. They go, this is where we know we need to get something, and this is where we can try to
Yeah,
get something.
yeah.
Do these mindsets change now that you have this pro atmosphere around the team? Like, do you
Mm.
set benchmarks a bit higher, even in terms of say fitness as an example? Like, do you now go, so we used to class this as the good time on the bleep test or something, or this on the bronco,
Mhm.
we now want this level, this is what we set as the new standard type thing?
Yeah, I think we've definitely got like our standards have naturally gone higher,
Mhm.
especially like me personally from where I was in preseason. I'd kind of like to get back to that level as well. Like obviously when you're in competition, it's kind of hard to, I don't know, like keep like I don't want to say like keep your weight down and stuff, but
Yeah.
like when you're in pre-season, it wasn't easy, like the way the training was, but like when you're in competition, you're fueling for matches.
Mhm.
So you have to kind of like up your calories a little bit, up your carb intake, just so you can survive 80 plus minutes of rugby. So I think just like kind of getting back to that sort of level for me, but also not then obviously like losing too much weight and getting injured and being and like I don't want to underperform. So it's for me, it's about trying to find like that happy balance and that happy medium going into Six Nations again, where I can tick all the boxes kind of thing. So it's quite difficult.
I mean, so I always find this really interesting because we oh, we'll cut that. The good thing about recording podcasts in the morning, everybody has that morning voice. So I always find it really interesting. So when because we spoke about it for the World Cup as well, you sort of like you aim to peak. But the problem with the Six Nations is it's a 7-week competition, 6-week competition. Yeah. So do you guys, because obviously your two big ones are Ireland at home on the first game. Are you guys sort of aiming to peak there, or do you guys like sort of go to peak in the middle of the tournament? Because I always find that would be quite an interesting talking point for your S&C coaches and things like that.
Yes, it is a tricky one, isn't it? Like, and it's kind of hard to know when to peak because we're all still playing prem matches as well, and we're going to be playing, I think, up until maybe a week before the competition. So like, it's a difficult one, but our middle of the competition is France and England, so I'm like, oh, it's a tricky one to peak for, isn't it? And obviously, like we've got Ireland, Scotland first up and second up. So like they're probably the ones that we're gonna wanna peak for. And then like obviously we don't know like what's gonna happen when we play England and France. Like we've got France away, which is probably one of the most difficult tests to go, like to play France away in France. Well, obviously France away in France, but yeah, like it's
you never know anymore. People put games on all over the world.
No, you don't have, so like it's probably one of like for me one of the hardest places to go and play. Like it's loud, they've got a band, and it's just like, oh, you're trying to like have a conversation with your 10 or whatever, and you've just got some guy banging a drum, and it's like, oh, I can't cope. So it is.
So would you like a band in the Welsh stand, or would you be like, guys, come on, I'm trying to communicate here?
We don't get like 10,000 plus people, so I think it's a combination of both. Like it's the guy with the drum, but then like the sellout crowd as well. Like they just add to each other. It's just a headache.
There you go. So the method is here, listeners. If we sell out the ground, Keira says you're allowed to bring a drum. That is it. But you have to sell out the ground.
No instruments, thank you.
I want to see your faces. I don't want to see instruments.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well, Keira, I've taken up a lot of your time already this morning, but I could talk to you for hours and hours. So there's only a final few things to go through. The one question that we've now started talking about, so as you can see, crudely edited on the board behind you, refused to fail. Hey, thank you for listening to this Clips episode on YouTube. And then if you want to hear the whole podcast, you can find them on Apple or Spotify, as well as the full video version on this YouTube channel, alongside all the other great content we produce on a weekly basis. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you again on another Clips episode or in the full episode podcast. Tweet us, tag us, let us know what you thought. All the links are down in the description. It means the world that you guys come and support us, so thank you very much.